We have a great suggestion today, something I would have never really thought of on my own. It's how Formula One is filmed. It's a technical masterpiece. That's the title of this video. Sounds interesting, right? I have learned Formula One is absolutely awesome if you're new here, and I have watched it live, and it's very great coverage, I will admit, and of course seeing highlights is further proof of that. This is a Discord suggestion from Black Easter Egg, so thank you for that suggestion. And this is from a channel called Tommy DeWitt. This will be linked in the description down below so you can watch the whole thing uninterrupted. How much goes in to seeing Formula One the way we do? Because it's pretty immersive. It's pretty awesome.
Helicopter. Okay, first we're going to break down probably the most expensive camera on the track, the helicopter. Whether it's getting establishing shots of the race location or tracking the action from above, you can be sure the footage is going to be dynamic and immersive. Because the helicopter is constantly moving, Formula One uses an advanced camera stabilizer to smooth out any bumps. The camera is then connected to a control panel, which a camera operator can use while the pilot flies the helicopter. The pair work as a team to get shots, constantly communicating where the helicopter needs to be and what the shot type is. Back in the early 90s, when helicopters were first introduced to the sport, they would just simply hover in the air and get a static angle. Now the helicopter is constantly capturing long, complex shots of the race that really give the audience context as to what's going on.
That's insane.
Onboard cameras.
Well, what's cool about the helicopter shots, obviously the modern ones that are more zoomed in, they're crystal clear. It's cool because it gives you a sense of scale when you're overhead, right? That's why like drone videos are so fun if you've ever used a drone and you like film your yard or your house or like somewhere cool out in nature. It really gives you that perspective. You see how big or small things are. You get more depth, perception. And in this case, it's awesome because you see the real shape of the cars and you see how fast they're going around a turn. It's just like, it's more immersive and it's more accurate, I feel like, next to, of course, being there, right? It's just like a better view.
Onboard cameras provide some of the most exciting footage of the race. They allow the viewer to get right into the action and are often better at depicting the insane speeds of the cars than the trackside cameras.
True.
F1 only started routinely using onboard cameras in 1989. In the technical regulations, it states that every car must have 5 onboard cameras. Dang. 2 of these cameras are located in the T-shaped box on top of the car, with one facing forwards and the other facing backwards.
Okay.
The remaining 3 cameras are placed on the nose and the chassis. Amazingly, the total weight of these cameras is less than 4 pounds.
Jeez, that's
amazing. One quick note to add is that F1 is currently experimenting with putting 360 cameras on the cars, but currently they're only using the footage for social media purposes and not actually live race footage.
I mean, that's cool that they're trying it even just for, replays or social media. That would be pretty wicked live, right? Having like a view, 360 view. That'd be insane. Wow. But leave it to F1. Like if anyone was to try it first, it would be F1, right? Like there's one thing I've learned is how insanely advanced F1 is. They're always ahead of the game, the tech in the cars and apparently surrounding the series, even when it comes to broadcast and transportation between races and stuff. Yeah, it's always next level.
Cable cam. The final moving camera on the track is the cable cam. Located between the pit lane and the finishing straight, the cable cam is a camera attached to a set of wires that can move at over 130 kilometers per hour to capture the race. It's great for tracking cars as they enter or leave the pits, or providing a dynamic camera angle of the cars as they rocket down the straight. The system they use is called the CamCat, and it's the same cable cam system used at the Olympics and in blockbuster movies.
Wow,
Trackside
that's crazy.
Cameras. The trackside cameras are the bread and butter of the Formula One race coverage. They're essential for allowing the viewer to track the action and always staying oriented as to which car is where. Without trackside cameras, it would almost be impossible to follow the race, especially when there's multiple things happening at any given time. There's usually about 25 of these cameras placed around the track, but that number can vary based on the circuit. F1.
Think about that. Yeah, it definitely varies. On longer tracks like Spa, it might be more, like how much? Maybe 35? I don't know. Like 20 to 40, that's say. Like, that is insane. That many cameras, that many operators. When you really think about it, I think a lot of us take this for granted. We just sit back, we relax, and we watch the race on the telly, and it's just like a good time, right? And you're not thinking, of course, you know, like, oh, how is this all going down behind the scenes? But it really is refreshing and kind of mind-blowing what really goes into it. It makes you appreciate how they get it all right and present it so well, right? It's really impressive. And it also sounds like a headache for anyone that's in charge of this, because there's just so much going on and so much to get right. And each camera operator has to be on top of it, right? You're only as good as like your weakest link, I feel like there. Yeah, it's crazy.
F1 uses Grass Valley cameras, which are able to capture high-quality video
let me go
that
back.
can
I
be
wanna
sent
hear that.
directly to the broadcast. That number can vary based on the circuit. F1 uses Grass Valley cameras, which are able to capture high-quality video that can be sent directly to the broadcast center. They pair these cameras with Canon broadcast lenses, some of which are able to zoom from 9mm all the way in to 810 millimeters. That is a 90 times zoom. These lenses can cost up to $250,000 each. I will not be getting one anytime soon.
Oh my
This camera
God.
setup is then
I was going to say, I'm used to camera lenses. I have had photography bouts in my life, never like full-time, like all the time, right? It's more of phases, but I'm well aware of how much camera gear is. And yeah, I've heard of lenses more on a smaller spectrum than that. You know, I thought lenses that were $5,000 were expensive. Wow.
then mounted on a Vinton tripod head, which is very robust and smooth, and is essential for capturing lightning-quick whip pans as the cars zoom by. Okay, quick.
As someone who has filmed a lot, just as an amateur, right? Like doing YouTube, filming for personal, just, you know, messing around. That is super impressive. If you've never messed with cameras, you might not know what I'm talking about here, but
for capturing lightning quick whip pans
when he
as the
whips
cars
this,
zoom by.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. First of all, clearly being a camera operator in sports in general is a real skill. Let's get real. And second of all, that tripod and everything involved in this is so impressive, because if you're not stable, if things aren't stable, then it's going to look like crap, right? It's going to look horrible. The fact that you can whip that fast and for him, keep the eye on the car, and second of all, have it look, it always looks smooth though, right? It doesn't look amateur or homemade. I mean, that's just like, that little maneuver is huge. That's very impressive, and something with my random, you know, civilian equipment, I could never replicate that. It would look like crap.
Okay, quick side note. How is that guy getting that shot? There's no way that looks good. He's just
I don't know how he's getting that either.
He's got to either be the greatest camera operator in the world, or he's just getting garbage. I don't know. Many fans complain that the trackside cameras should not pan to track the cars as much as they do, as it makes them look slower when compared to a simple static shot. However, F1 is concerned that introducing more static angles would make the race harder to follow. Slow motion cameras.
Ooh,
mixed in with the trackside cameras are a few high-tech slow motion cameras that are positioned at key parts on the circuit. They are strictly used to replay footage and help the audience to see exactly what happened after these. F1 has used the Phantom V642 high-speed broadcast camera at races before, which can shoot up to 5,850 frames per second.
Wow.
It's amazing to watch the footage back, like in Alonso's crash in Australia in 2016.
Yeah, look at that. I've seen that before in a previous video we watched on this channel. That was insane.
In addition to all the cameras mentioned so far, there's also quite a few specialty cameras dotted around the circuit.
Yeah, what could be left?
These include several cameras embedded in the track to show the speed of the cars racing over them, 5 different roaming cameras to capture any pit lane drama, a handful of cameras to record.
So that pit lane, that would be like just a guy like over the shoulder, I believe, right? And then, like they said, the track ones, those are like embedded in the track. They're probably like little like dome-like things that are almost flush with the surface.
crowd reactions, and even more cameras capturing pit stops like this top-down angle.
Oh, top
Another
down,
camera
that's
to
cool.
quickly mention is one on top of a scissor lift. Usually located at the end of the opening
okay.
straight, F1 will send a camera operator high up on a scissor lift to capture a unique view of the cars heading down the straight and down into the first turn. In
Right.
total, there can be up to 126 different cameras filming the race during one weekend.
Wow.
Microphones.
I was worried about, or I was saying like, wow, 25 cameras earlier when we were talking about just the static ones. Geez, 126-ish when you think of actually everything. Mind blown.
All the elaborate camera setups would
Wow.
fail to capture the true power and speed of Formula One cars if it wasn't for the 147 different microphones placed
right.
around the track. The sound of the race is critical for the enjoyment of the viewer. There have
It
actually been
is.
several studies that prove people associate the speed of a car with how loud it is.
Yes.
With the start of the hybrid era in 2014, many fans complained that the cars were now too quiet and were
Yeah.
missing their signature scream. In order to combat the 11 decibel drop in volume, F1 has recently began placing microphones on cars in order to boost the sound for viewers at home. In 2018, they debuted a new type of microphone that sits underneath the car right next to the exhaust. This
Oh,
tiny
wow.
microphone, measuring less than a square inch, can withstand up to 120 degrees Celsius and can accurately capture the true power of a Formula One car. Television production.
That's crazy.
While you can have as many cameras and microphones as your heart desires, you still need someone to combine all of the audio and visuals together to make
Yeah.
a compelling TV program. For
Yikes.
F1,
That's
that
the hard
person is
part.
the television production team leader. They're essentially a conductor, editing the race together in real time. Their
That's
team takes
insane.
all 126 cameras and 147 microphones
That's
and
right.
combines them together to make a seamless production, all while being live on air.
Yeah.
It's way too much for one person to keep track of.
That to me, I know, of course, obviously, you have a team of people, like, duh, you need that. Even with a team, that is just such a task, again, that people, I think, don't appreciate enough. That sounds so freaking hard. I don't even know how they do
Instead, different teams make their own sub mixes, which the television production team leader then weaves together. The replays team handpicks shots of exciting moments that can be replayed when there's an appropriate time. The track mix
Okay.
team strictly follows the race using just the trackside cameras with no added extras. It runs the entire race even when it isn't being shown. And finally, there's a team in charge of the main feed, which is what the world sees at home.
Right.
It combines the track mix and replays with all the other camera options like the helicam, onboard cameras, or pit lane angles. After seeing footage of the teams working together to combine the different angles and mixes, it's an absolute miracle how seamless the race plays
Yeah.
on TV.
It really is, honestly.
With you, Trace. With you, Bell. Stay on this. Stay on this.
22 with crowd.
Okay, one.
Oh, is that them
Okay,
talking?
RF2. Take
Each team director is either shouting camera angles to cut to, finding clips to use in replays, or trying to find a cohesive story within the tangle of different narratives. The person in charge of the main feed always has to ask themselves what story they're trying to tell. If
Yeah.
it's Hamilton versus Vettel, it's more important to stay on Vettel being upset after he crashes than to show several drivers going into the pits. F1 is always trying to show the emotion behind the race,
Yeah.
not necessarily every little detail of what's happening. Logistics.
That makes sense.
Another thing I wanted to talk about are the insane logistics needed to broadcast the race live out to more than 50 countries. Because most
Jeez.
tracks don't have a dedicated broadcast center, F1 transports all of the equipment needed to each race. This takes
Wow.
up 2 jumbo jets or 26 flatbed trucks.
Oh my
For example, in
God.
2018, when Sebastian Vettel won the Singapore Grand Prix, the entire broadcast center was torn down and rebuilt in Sochi, Russia in just 5 days.
Oh, wow.
All right, that is the video. I hope
That
you guys enjoyed.
is equally impressive again, because that is just so much freaking work. It's just mind-boggling, honestly. This was a fun one. Excellent suggestion. You guys really always come up with great stuff. This was a good one, for real. F1 is just so fun and so damn interesting to learn about. And I really hope you enjoyed this one, because I know I did. I mean, that's like a whole nother side to the sport, you know, where it's just talk about how it's filmed. So we're not even technically talking about like the cars themselves or how they work or how each track is different, all this thing. It's more like just talk about how it's filmed, right? It's like a little bit removed from the sport itself, but it's integral to bringing the sport to us. It's like, it's very interesting how it all comes together. Equally as interesting as how the logistics of the sport itself, how each team operates, how much money they spend, how they get the race cars and teams and drivers and all these people from, you know, one track to another across the world. It's just a crazy, crazy sport, isn't it? It is just insane. I can't find the right word for it. It seems like it's just bigger than life, and I can't believe it's not even more popular. I know that sounds crazy to say. I know it is very extremely popular on, you know, basically every corner of the earth if you search for it. But I'm surprised it's not even bigger, and it might keep growing and growing. It seems to be going that direction right now. I certainly hope with more American races right here in the United States in the mix, and of course in neighboring, like, you know, Mexico, for example, has a race. I really hope it continues to grow in popularity here, just so in our neck of the woods here, it really has a strong following because it needs it. It's a masterpiece of a sport. I think it deserves some awesome attention, and I think people could really come together and have fun appreciating the sport. I know it has definitely changed my perspective on learning about it, and just makes me appreciate it that much more, and I'm really glad. I feel like I'm late. I wish I would have started following Formula One 10, 15 years ago. But really, better late than never. I mean, I'm so glad that I'm in it, and I'm here for it right now. It's really exciting. Please throw a thumbs up, a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and of course, subscribe to join our amazing community we do have on this channel. We're on our way to 100K. I would appreciate it. Check the description out for this original video so you can watch the whole thing uninterrupted, skipped around a little bit, and of course, other ways you can support me, interact with me, stuff like that. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.